Today I wanted to talk to you about my experience with making book cloth, which is pretty limited because I just did a little bit the other day, but I thought it was interesting. And the reason I did it was I wanted to try to make a floating or hidden spine. I get those two terms a little bit confused. To me, a floating spine is one that's not glued into the spine itself. It would be like the space in there that you can see, that would be a floating spine. And one that's glued down to me would be a hidden spine. But I guess technically what I'm calling a floating spine could also be a hidden spine because you don't see the stitches on it. Anyway, that's what sent me off on this rabbit trail of making book cloth. And I'm so unfamiliar with it, I had to write it down to remind myself it's called book cloth and not some of the other words I tried to use, like book page or something. But anyway, these are just some examples of some books that all of them are definitely vintage or older. But you can probably see that this book has cloth on it, but it's treated in a way where it's not just fabric. This one is a little bit more, well, it's about the same as that one. This one maybe has a little difference. It seems like it has some embossing or something on it. This is an old dictionary, and but all of these are book cloth examples of the way bookbinders, what they use. But for junk journaling, I think it is a little bit different, and that's basically what I'm talking about is for junk journals. For me, I wanted something to use to make my spine, and I'll just go ahead and show you that, what I've done here. I glued the paper to the cloth, and then I sewed through that as if I were sewing through the spine, and then I'm going to glue that down to my cover. And it looks like it's bubbling up a little bit there. There are lots of ways to adhere the fabric and the paper together. What I used was this Elmer's Craft Bond Quick Dry Glue. And I don't know that that's the best thing to use, but that's what I use. Some of the other options are, there's what's called wheat paste, and it's a powder that you mix with water, and it's what traditionally has been used to make book cloth. Some other bookbinders use like interfacing that it's iron on. You heat it and iron it to the back of your fabric, and it's adhered to it, and then you can glue that to your book boards. Or you can use, Pellon is one brand, and Heat Bond, I think, is another, that is just an adhesive that you can glue two fabrics or two paper and fabric together with that. And it's also an iron-on product. But what I'm going to just talk about how I did it today, and that is with the glue. I'm thinking about also trying this glue stick because I want to see, I had seen somebody gluing tissue paper to fabric, and I'm thinking that the glue stick might work better for that. I'm not sure. The method that I saw and that I'm using is what Rachel from Roxy Creation did, and she just used this PVA glue to glue her paper and fabric together. So let's try it on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in here. And this is some fabric that was my mother. It's vintage, and I think it might even be, no, I think it's actually, it has a selvage on it, so I don't think it's feed sack material, but it's just a cotton fabric. And this is just a page out of this sketchbook I have. It's 50 pound or 70, I don't know if that's GSM or not, but maybe. It's acid free, and it's medium weight, it says. And I got it for a bargain. I'm sure you noticed the 75-cent tag there. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And this nozzle is all gooped up with this glue, so I'm just going to open it up and kind of shake it down, and hopefully it won't come out in a big glob. But you just, I'm just going to put some glue on here. And I need to spread that out a little bit. Since this is quick drying, I might be better off to just have PVA glue that wasn't quick drying because it gives you a little more time to work on this. But this is what I've got, and this is what I'm going to use today. So just spread it out. You can use your finger on this too. I did that with what I was working on the other day. I just used my finger to spread it. But you want to have a pretty good amount of glue, but not so much that it seeps through your fabric. So it's kind of a guessing game, like many things in our junk journal world are. And I'm going to put a little bit more down here in this corner. You don't want it popping up after you've glued it down, so that's why you want to have enough. And you can just kind of tell. Don't have big blobs of glue here and there like that. Spread it out smooth as best you can. Okay, that looks pretty fair. Okay, I'm going to put this down on here so I'm not gluing into that paper that has glue on it. And this fabric is not cut straight, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this selvage edge up against this side and then glue it down across there. And just smooth it down. And it's probably best if you have your fabric ironed just a little bit, but there was a wrinkle there and it just smoothed out when it got into the glue, so I'm looking for my card. You don't want to do that, what I just did there, and cause that to wrinkle, but just smooth it out gently. And once you get that done, you may need to add a little bit more on the corners. Seems like that is where it doesn't want to stick. And there. Probably getting glue on my mat here. And let's see. Yep. Every one of them. Okay. There we go. And you may be thinking, well, what else could I use this for? And if you wanted to, I mean, you could use it for a lot of things. You could cover your book with the paper. You might want to use a thinner paper on that than what I'm using here. I wanted my fabric to be fairly stable. Let's wet wipe and clean this up. You could also use this fabric paper, book cloth, to make pockets out of in your journal. If you wanted to use the fabric, but you didn't want your pocket to be too floppy, that would be a good option on that. You can also just use fabric to make pockets, and they're fine. But if you had something that you were going to put in it that was a little stiffer, or something that might not cooperate with the fabric, maybe something that's more flimsy, it would be good to have the book paper, the book cloth. See, I'm doing it again. It gives the fabric body, but it also makes the paper stronger. You can't just tear paper. Like, you'd pick up a piece of paper like this and you can just tear it. But when you have the paper, this is some other I made to go on the inside. You can't just tear it. It doesn't just tear. It's not completely tear-proof. I mean, if you tried hard enough, you could. But it just strengthens your paper. That's that one. Now let's try the one I was going to do with the tissue paper. I saw somebody using that the other day, and I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been, I can't think of her name, but she does Junk Journal Joy is her channel name, and I apologize for not remembering her name. But I think she was using tissue paper to make her book cloth. So this is just a piece of, I think it's probably got some polyester in there. It might be 100% polyester. I'm not sure. It's just a remnant that was in my mother's stuff. I'm debating whether it would be better to put the glue on the fabric or the glue on the tissue paper. And I don't really know. So I think I'm going to try this extra strength glue stick. It does say it's for lightweight fabrics. Paper and lightweight fabrics. So we'll see what happens. And I tore that, so it's a little bit... It's maybe too ambitious to do this much at one time. But anyway, we'll see what happens here. Just put it on. It's probably going to take a good bit of the glue stick to make it glued well enough to adhere to the paper. You know, this is like they say, never try out a recipe that you haven't used before on your company. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing to you. I'm doing a recipe that I haven't done before. We're experimenting together. So we'll see what happens. Okay, that's getting pretty gluey, I think. So we're just going to put this tissue paper on it and see what happens here. I like to turn it this way. It seems like I can have better control over it than trying to do it lengthwise. And I'm just going to put this down. Just kind of go lap over the edge there a little bit. Okay. And this paper, this tissue paper was something that came in a gift, and so it was kind of wrinkled. But gluing it down kind of seems to get rid of some of those wrinkles. I'll be interested to see how this is when it's dried. And I may have to come back and show you pictures of the results at the end of how it looks. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. This is just kind of an experiment, but it could be used for pockets or tabs. Even tags would be good. Be a different kind of tag. Maybe smaller ones would be good. Or something that you just felt like you wanted something a little different. And it didn't have to be too strong. Okay. Some of these places, it looks like I didn't get enough glue on it, but I'm just going to rub it down with my fingers and see if I can get it to adhere better. Okay. I think this tissue paper is pretty. I like the little roses on it. And I might use this in my pink journal. So we'll just put that aside and let that dry. And it may not be glued too well, I don't know. I'm going to turn this one over so the back can dry. And I'm just going to press it just to press it together some more. Okay, I was going to show you this is my pink journal that I've been talking about forever. And I finally decided I was going to sew it into a book. So that's what I've been working on. And I have my, this is a file folder that I cut to make the cover. And I'm going to glue this down to the spine. I'm not going to do this on camera because I know I'd make a mess of it, but I will show you at some point how it looks when I get finished with it. But I'm going to glue that there, and then I'm going to put these pieces. Actually, I'm going to do it this way to cover the inside cover with those. And then I'll cover this with, I think I'm going to use pink rickrack right there to cover that up. This fabric is old and has a stain right there, so it's kind of dingy looking in spots, but that's okay. It's lived. So anyway, so that's my experience with book cloth so far. And it's not hard to do. The problem I had with these was it seemed like I didn't get it glued down everywhere, and I went back after it dried, and I just put some more glue on top of it. And that's sort of okay, but it changes the texture of it. This feels like fabric up here, but where I put the glue on it, it feels more like those book covers I was showing you earlier that have some kind of something over the top of them. So anyway, I just wanted to pop back on and show you the result of the book page that I made earlier in this video. This is the tissue paper on the fabric, which I think it has some polyester in it, if not completely polyester. And I used my Craft Bond Extra Strength glue stick on it, and it has stuck down very well. It feels very smooth. It has almost a sheen to it. I don't know if that's showing up in the camera or not. There's a little bit of wrinkling, just kind of, I don't know how to describe that. But it's basically stuck down pretty well. There's a little bit of bubbling right there, but otherwise it looks pretty good. And it's strong. I don't think it would tear. It might tear right there on the edge. That is not glued down too well. But anyway, I'm pleased with the result on that. And then this one, I forgot to mention that on it, I used this sketch diary, which is heavyweight 117G /M square. I guess that's GSM. I don't know. But it doesn't say, it doesn't have the other designation on it. So heavyweight. And it is heavier than the other that I made. But it stuck down well, and it's heavier, so it probably would make better like tags or pockets or something because of that. But anyway, so I just wanted to let you know that's what it looked like and how I felt about the results, and I'm pleased with both of these. I hope you found that interesting or useful or intriguing or one of those things, and that maybe it can help you in working in your books and something different or new to try perhaps. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great week, and if you're in the United States, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up for me, but it may be over by the time I post the video. I'm not sure. So anyway, whatever you're doing or wherever you are, I hope you're blessed and happy and grateful for all the things that God has provided for you. I'll see you next time. Bye.